It was adventurous in concept. A double album in itself is an adventurous concept that we don't think of a lot of time. When you say it, everybody knows what you mean, like quicksand. Everybody knows what quicksand is. When was the last time you saw it in a movie?
And it seems real slow.
There used to be quicksand in every fourth adventure movie. Remember, somebody in the jungle would be sinking in quicksand, and
throw me a rope.
There's this exactly, and you would have a horse or a zebra pull them out, or a stick, or maybe it was in Indian country. There was a lot of quicksand. Yeah. There's actually a book on quicksand. Quicksand in the movies and television, etc. That we don't see it anymore. The double album, we don't see a lot of that. The live album. The live double album with the booklet and everything. We don't see these things very often anymore.
Dave, where did music go? Where is everybody? Where are all, like, the guys in a garage calling themselves Mammoth that are about to change the name and then become Van Halen and just crush ass? Where is Unchained? Where is the Nirvana? Like, the grunge, they seem to close the door behind them. Why is everything now... Why have we all settled? Why do we all have this apathy where we're with auto-tune and Katy Perry stuff? Why are we all settling for this societally?
Oh, okay. What's your dog's name? I'm sorry?
Mabel.
Mabel. Can I quote Mabel?
Yes.
In Mabel's words, where's the treat? Where's the treat? If the treat is gigantic, if there's a potential treat that is like Dark Side of the Moon meets the Eagles' greatest hits times Stairway to Led Zeppelin meets Frampton Comes Alive.
Consumer?
Whatever your treat may be.
Right.
Maybe your treat is $1 gazillion, which is actually now a number. $1 gazillion in a bank account. Maybe your treat is, I'm going to use my celebrity to travel, and everywhere I go will be
But you're coming from the
smile
performer's point of view. I'm asking you as a consumer. I'm asking you as the guy when something as basic as Steve Miller comes on, and I like Steve Miller, but like when Fly Like an Eagle comes on, I go, holy shit, this is fucking rad.
He was competing for the treat, and the treat is no longer there in the same size, shape.
Why can't the consumers demand that they shift their focus? Because no one wants anything that's happening right now. That's why Van Halen's on in my car right now. And like Jane's Addiction and all that, like Bad Brains and Nirvana and Pearl Jam, it like just Foo Fighters. The door just slammed right behind them. Queens of the Stone Age, there's a few that squeaked out. But why is there apathy? There's no treat for the consumer. No one really is going, oh my God, Shakira's coming to town. It used to be an event.
I understand this.
We didn't know what you guys looked like when you came to a town.
I understand. The thrill of sacrificing everything because there's the potential. I call it the treat. What is the reward?
The treat.
What is the result?
She likes it.
It's a simple. The doggy knows it.
You're waiting for a treat. The fucking dog is sitting at Dave's feet.
Where's the treat? You know that look. Any one of you who own a dog know that look.
She just sing some Katy Perry and get her away from me.
Where's the treat? And no treat, no rollover, no fetch. And even if I do fetch, it's going to be a slow fetch. And that goal of the potential, rather, of that reward compelled you to absolutely fortify your work with as much time and effort and caloric expenditure as you possibly could. You would sacrifice your health. You would sacrifice your family. You would sacrifice all of your normal relationships to create a dark side of the moon. And frequently people did in any number of departments of music. Today, that reward is not there. So the compulsion, that obsessive drive, is vastly diminished.
But don't you think your last tour with Van Halen counteracts your own argument? It was the highest grossing Van Halen tour of all time.
I'm disincluding myself from when we discuss these kinds of things. Van Halen's a bit of an anomaly.
Not really. When Jimmy Page tours with the Black Crowes and Chris Robinson is singing 10 Years Gone, and they sell out arenas. It's not even Led Zeppelin. It's the Black Crowes, a theater band, doing Zeppelin songs with one guy. And, God forbid if Guns N' Roses ever got back together. If Roger Waters and...
Are we discussing the quality of the music or the efforts of the musicians?
I want to know where music,
I can
not
tell you
Black
that.
Eyed Peas, where did it go? Why is there
Okay.
no garage band that's touring and selling out theaters?
Okay.
I guess the
I
Black
have
Crowes
that
are
answer
real...
as well.
Okay. Because I do think chronologically, the Black Crowes are like the last ones
Sure.
to get out.
Sure.
Could you grab me a water, sweetie?
Up until a specific time, all bands had to go through the College of Musical Knowledge, which means you had to play the clubs and the bars, and you had to do 5 45-minute sets a night. You had to learn hundreds of other people's tunes in order to play a variety of different neighborhoods. And playing things south of the Harbor Freeway for a lowrider wedding was all for Van Halen. That was all Santana.
You guys know Free Ride, right? We're playing it about 40 times, and then we're getting out of here.
We're playing Evil Ways and Black Magic Woman and Soul Sacrifice and Suavecito. When we play for the bikers out in San Bernardino, that's all Smoke on the Water and Get Your Motor Run and Born to Be Wild.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't play Aerosmith out there in the mid-late 70s because that was a little bit
fighting words. A little fruity,
It was a little fruity. However, Born to Be Wild, etc., that was considered kind of retro, kind of dumb, thuggy, whatever, when you played out at the beaches here. And we played up and down these beaches constantly, going down from Hermosa up to around here. There were clubs and bars and ballrooms, etc. So that was Aerosmith, and let's think who else was that. ZZ Top was really popular.
Underrated ZZ Top.
I'm sorry?
Maybe one of the all-time underrated bands, would you say?
Particularly before they got out the synthesizer. This was pre-synthesizer.
Yeah.
And it was more blues rocky, and it was all developed out of a roadhouse where everybody's dancing. All of the grooves are exactly right from everybody of the bands that I was discussing with you. If you took the top off of a plastic drink and filled it to the top, you could dance to any of those bands without spilling your drink because they don't go over about 125 beats a minute. That's how Van Halen learned to play all of the songs that we wrote. Is you learn what's a chorus, what's a verse, what is a bridge, how do you modulate, what's a key change, etc., etc. How to structure your vocals, how many 1-part, 3-part, 5-part harmonies, etc. And we called it the College of Musical Knowledge. Those clubs and bars no longer exist, Jay. There are places where you can play original material. Yeah, we can pop the newspaper in the LA scene or whatever, and same thing in New York City. Dozens of places to play your original material. Doesn't matter what your shoes and haircut are. We'll find a place. Where are the places that you used to play top 40? That you used to play dozens of other people's material for a somewhat intoxicated dance crowd? And I stress the somewhat intoxicated because they're unforgiving. They're there to have a good time. They're there to spend a hard-earned dollar. It's usually blue collar. They're there to dance. Don't get in the way. So, you learn a sense of popular music in its infinite variety.
Right.
And those places coming around, I'm going to say mid-'80s by then, had started being all replaced by people with stereo systems and turntables. Until then, nobody could afford the bass speakers, to put up a sound system. Maybe a dance club in Chicago, sure. A dance club in Hollywood, sure. Those were dance clubs with big bass bands like they used in the movie theaters. Until the late 70s, till, those early 80s and everything. Then Sherwin Vega showed up with bass speakers for $200 that you can go. Average club owner goes, why do I want to dick around with a band anymore? The band shows up late. They're drunk half the time. One of them hits on my old lady incessantly.
One of them.
I ask them to repeat a song. They look at me like I got 6 eyes in the front of my face. They're constantly asking for a raise. I'm going to get my cousin with a great record collection. He does this Saturday Night Fever thing. He's going to show up. We're going to install a realistic turntable. We're going to get a couple of those fucking Serwin Vega bass whatevers they are. I'm going to hang them in a ceiling like I seen in a movie. And hey, Mr. Rock Band, up yours. Closed. The sign turns closed. And from
I
a
never
club
heard that angle before, Dave. That playing the importance of learning to play other people's material. I've never heard dozens of musicians on this show.
Absolutely critical.
I think it's the stripping. Your time in Japan has done you well, and you're studying with the Buddhist monks. The stripping of the ego allows you to come, just full disclosure. Oh, you got to be able to play other people's stuff.
Hundreds of other people's songs. If you didn't go to
no
school,
one has ever said that on this podcast.
Oh yes, you had better.
They said, well, we had to in the beginning to fill time, or we had to, otherwise they'd get mad at us. But no one ever said, oh, no, hundreds of other. That's fascinating. You're the first guy to go.
Absolutely,
I love
you
it.
do. Absolutely, you do. If you went to graphic arts school and you pick up a brush and some ink and go, don't worry, I'll get this. Yeah, right. And only a fool thinks that your pure experience can replace an education. You do need experience. But in 10 seconds, I can show you this is a triangle, Jane. This is a square, and this is a circle. You'd be amazed at how many people take that brush, the paper, and the ink, retire to the proverbial attic, and 10 years later come back and go, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to see what I drew. I call it a square. You're holding your face in your hands going, don't tell me what's next. You got rid of the corners? Yeah, how'd you know? I call it a circle. Well, you just wasted all that precious time, talent, and ink reinventing the wheel.
It's the name of your new album, The Wheel.
Exactly.
Because you can get crushed beneath it as well,
Exactly.
as Herman Hesse wrote.
So better to learn a couple of hundred other people's songs, and this is the square, and this is a triangle, and this is a circle. I call it a wheel. You can call it a steering wheel. You can call it whatever you fucking want. Just learn how to make one, and don't bore me in 6 months with, reinventing
So
the wheel.
there was no shortage of Van Halen mitts. Out of sheer joy of those days, you guys did more covers than anybody of your era. And now that I'm speaking with you and I've gotten to know you a little bit, is when you're taking a van up and down PCH.
Oh, totally.
So why not do Dancing in the
pure
Streets?
Joy of playing the song. Not a care in the world for who wrote it. Not a care in the world for how am I singing it. Because 7 out of 10 times I'm actually trying to sound like the guy who sang it.
Yes, and that's the thing
but
with a cover.
But because of my rusty pipe
Yeah.
and my life of danger and international intrigue,
Hanging
mix
out with
those
Pussy
two
Galore's
together.
Kung Fu schoolgirls.
Hello.
Yeah.
Even
That's
if
Yiddish for yo.
Yo. Even if I'm trying to sound like the guy in the Rolling Stones, not even close. Sounds like you, Dave.
Everybody always says a good cover has to be different. It has to be not like the one before it. And you guys just went straight through the center of the sun. You did it exactly the way it was. Zeppelin doing When the Levee Breaks sounds nothing like When the Levee Breaks.
We were lucky in that we have what's called a signature sound.
Yeah.
It's as when we play together or even individually, you can pretty much tell, when it's like Hendrix. Take it out of the personal, and you can hear Hendrix's guitar. Even if it's a new guitar in a song you've never heard, you go, oh, that's Jimmy.
Yeah.
When you hear Eddie play individually, when we play together, there is a signature sound to it that even if we're trying to imitate somebody else specifically, it doesn't land there. It still sounds like me. And so that what's the upside of that is that I can continually improve my repertoire. How many more moves? How many more tricks? How many more new ideas, riff-wise, you follow?
Why do you go to Japan so much?
I started living there. I have an apartment there.
Are you the
Tokyo.
Tallest man in Tokyo?
I am one of the tallest.
Do they call you Godzilla and run?
I am. They don't run.
You just come out of your apartment, bozy, bop, Godzilla.
After 35 years, I'm pretty well known in Japan.
Well, I think you're pretty well known everywhere, dude.
Especially to the baby boomers, which is we run the show worldwide. So getting along.
I ask because this podcast, months in the making, but it was always dependent upon when you were returning from Japan. Not Chicago, not Florida. You weren't in Plano, Texas. It was like, well, when Dave gets back from Japan, and then you came back, and then you did something, and you went back to Japan.